Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. This is my Kayo K2 T4 230, although it might be a 250. There's a lot of unanswered questions about the actual size of the engine. Without me taking the head off and measuring the piston and everything else, I'm not quite sure. The forums say it's a 230, but on the back of the engine it says it's a 250. But probably the engine casing is 250, whether it's a 230 size piston or not. That being said, it's an awesome little bike. It's a really great beginners, even intermediate dirt bike, trail bike, fire roads. It's not a hardcore race bike, but if you want to get into riding off-road for cheap, I highly recommend these. Enormous amount of fun. I know I'm going to be going over some big tree stumps, possibly hitting some large rocks, and I want to protect the lower end of this engine casing. So I've treated myself with a early Christmas present. This is from Ricochet Racing, and it is a skid plate designed specifically for the Kayo. So I thought in this quick video I'd show you how to install a Kayo 230, 250 skid plate engine guard. This is very heavy duty. It cost about $100, which for a $500 dirt bike, it's quite a lot of money. But I think to protect the engine and the lower casing and the bottom of the frame from going off-road and hitting anything hard, I think it's good value for money. So like I said, I'll put a link to the description on the about section of this video for where I bought this from. And let's get into getting it installed on the bike. It comes with 3 pieces of hardware, 2 clips that go on the underside of the frame that are adjustable, and a center bolt clip with a hole drilled in the front to go right here. I don't have a hole drilled in my frame, so I'm going to have to either drill a hole or weld a nut in place so that I can attach the front side of it. So we'll get into it and figure out how I get this on the bike, and hopefully it looks great. Alright, so here's the actual skid guard. You can see the quality of the construction. These are the 2 adjustable brackets that attach to the underside of the frame here. We'll get into that in a second. And then there's a hole drilled in the front here with a mounting bolt that goes through. However, there is nothing on the frame to allow me to screw through, so I'm either going to have to drill a hole or weld a nut to this so that I can take it on or off. So lying down on the floor and looking up and under the bike, you can see the 2 tubes here, and that is basically what this is going to attach to. So here's what the bash plate, crash guard, skid plate, whatever you want to call it, looks like, loosely affixed. As you can see, there's a hole in the front, but there's no hole in the frame here, so we need to create a hole and a mounting bolt to mount up the front. The underside is connected by 2 hooks, so I'm going to show you that one and that one. They just literally come around. You can see one on the back side over there. See if I can zoom in on that. There you go, a little bit of image there. So these are just loosely installed, finger tight. If I get underneath, you can see the underside, 2 bolts going up there, a star head, and they hold that bracket right here onto the underside of the frame to protect the underside and engine. So what I've done is, obviously by attaching it loosely, I can now mark on the frame where I need to drill a hole. So remember, if you buy one of these bash plates and you've already got a hole drilled in your frame, you're not going to have to do this. It should line up. This is for the Kayo 230, 250, and certainly the bolts underneath, the alignment holes and the brackets work great. I could probably get away with just using those two, but I do want to secure it in the front here. So my options are to weld a nut to the frame. If you don't have a welder, then JB Weld, the liquid bonding glue, is going to be the thing that you need to use to secure that nut on the inside of the frame. So the first thing I'm going to do is drill a pilot hole in the center of where I'm going to be drilling in my frame. I'll certainly mark that. So now that I know that's where it's going to go, and I'm happy with that, alright, that's enough of a hole in the frame here. Now I'm going to take this off and sort this out. The other option is to tap the steel. So if I can't get the back of the nut up on the inside, I could tap the thread to this, and then I'll just be able to thread straight into it. So that's another good option based on whether or not you've got a tap or die set. So there's a lot of ways of doing this. I want the easiest and the strongest for myself. So time to take this off by undoing the 2 bolts underneath. Alright, so here's the hole drilled in the frame. Now this tube for the frame goes all the way through. So if you stick your finger up on the inside of the box, you can only put it up the length of my finger, and it basically stops right here. So this tube goes all the way through. So there's no way to put your screw or bolt up on the inside of the frame. Your only option now is to tap this hole so that it will accept the thread of the nut that's going to hold the front end in. So that's what I'm going to do now, is drill this out to the right size and then tap it to match this thread, and then I'll be able to add some thread lock to this and tighten it up. Alright, so I've drilled out the hole, and this is a 5/16 bolt. So I've matched that to a 5/16 tap, and this is what I'm going to use to make a thread on here. It's slightly undersized, the hole, but you want to remember as you're doing this to do, once you get it started, you've got to go back on yourself. So once you're nice and straight, do a turn until it feels really tight, and then do a half turn back, and then do another half turn forward and a half turn back, and that clears the swarf from the thread. If it starts to go nice and smoothly, you just don't want to overdo it. Half turn back, half turn back. There we go. Half turn back. Nice. So this is, you know, it's not super strong steel. So you don't have to be Thor when you do this. And there we go. Now you can see it's threading nicely all the way through. So you want to just go, I don't know, about ½ an inch, and then just back it out nice and slowly, keeping it straight. Until it feels like it's going to come out. There you go. And then take your bolt and hand thread it and see if it goes into the hole. Alright, so we've got the hole tapped for the front bolt. We're going to be using a 5/16 with a compression split washer on there to take up the slack, as well as some Loctite, red or blue, whatever you want. It's going to take a lot of shaking, so we don't want this falling out when we're off-road. I've loosely tightened up these, again with some Loctite on the nut, but they're slack now, just so that I can get this in. So you want to put this bolt in first. Generous glob of Loctite. Careful not to cross thread it. Yeah, this is definitely the way to go. Nice and easy, no welding, just drill a hole and tap it. go. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. That's good and tight. Compression split washer there is tight. That's not coming off in a hurry. And now I can get underneath and tighten up the last two. Those are a star bit. T40 Torx. Again, you don't need to be Thor on this. No breaking bolts off. Just strong enough to hold it tightly. And with some lock nut, with some thread lock on there, it's going to be good. So I go as tight and then just give it a little quarter turn and we should be good. Periodically get under here and check, but you know, you can clean underneath the bike with a pressure washer without having to take this plate off, which is nice. A big hole cut in the bottom under here so everything will flow out. It's aluminium, or if you're in America, aluminum, so it's not going to rust, and it is very solid. It's going to take all the hits right here from rocks and trees, and if you drop the bike in a rocky part of town, it's going to protect your engine casing. So for a $100 investment, even on a cheap dirt bike like this, I think it's good value for money. If you're going to do any serious off-roading or even semi-serious off-roading, but do double check your nuts underneath. Double check your nuts, gentlemen. Make sure they're tight. So if I pull the camera off, so there's one in the back there that's tight. There we go, nice and tight, and this one here is nice and tight. So that's what's holding it underneath, and in the front of the frame, we're going through the frame, or rather into the frame, and securing it with a tapped threaded bolt. So yeah, good, all done. Alright, so job done. One skid plate, bash plate, crash guard, engine sump guard. There's lots of words for this, but basically it's your engine protection casing on the outside. So there it is. I think it looks pretty nice. Pretty decent with lots of protection. Come around this side. And there you go. And you will notice that you can clearly and very easily still get to the drain, oil drain. So there's no need to have to take off your bash plate to drain the oil. This is basically going to live on here until it gets so destroyed with the ultimate off-road riding that you need a new one. Which I don't think on a little bike like this that's going to happen, but it is going to protect my engine nicely. So there you go, a Kayo 230 engine bash guard. Thank you all for watching. Time to get out there in the dirt and see how it performs.